Val Zod is a Kryptonian who takes the mantle of Superman after the demise of Kal-El on Earth 2 while fighting in the Apocalypse War. He was one of the 4 children saved by Jor-El and his wife Lara. Created by Nicholas Scott, Robson Rocha and Tom Taylor, he made his first appearance on Earth 2, issue 19, alongside James Olsen, aka Accountable, and Morella, aka Aquawoman. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video to learn more about Val Zod. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. The Wonders discover a new Kryptonian. While the Wonders are looking for a way to combat Brutal, the evil Superman clone created by Darkseid, Batman, Sonia Sato and Red Tornado find themselves in a stasis chamber, where they first liberate Morella, the Queen of Atlantis, followed by James Olsen. Batman tells the team that they have to leave the stasis chamber, but James Olsen informs them that there's something concealed in the base, an alien that was purposefully held away for unknown reasons, and that they should stay. Red Tornado scans the floor and discovers a section underneath the sub-basement that is manned by 2 guys. They are able to enter the bottom level after Morella shatters the floor. Morella is unharmed, despite the troops on that level trying to kill her by using a powerful ray weapon. When Red Tornado and Batman reach the lower level, one of the guards unlocks the door they are watching over, revealing a young person's living quarters behind it, who greets them, saying hi. The young guy, who goes by the name of Val, attempts to explain that he wasn't imprisoned there, but rather placed there for his own safety, and Terry Sloan had assured him that he is free to go whenever he pleases. Then, as Val drops to the ground, holding out a chunk of kryptonite he had been carrying, Batman understands that Val is a Kryptonian. When Morella opens the door, she observes the carnage taking place outside. James Olsen's eyes are covered while Batman's crew find their way back into the open, preventing him from remembering how to get to the base. Red Tornado discovers that the secret coordinates Batman gives her are the location of the Batcave, and is instructed by him to transport Val and James there. Hawkgirl flies out of the sky to catch Batman, Morella and Sato and transport them to another location after Red Tornado has left. After entering the Batcave, Batman inquires about the whereabouts of the Kryptonian. Red Tornado replies that Val is with her, but he appears to be experiencing a panic attack. He requests that they are not to force him to return there before revealing that he was one of 4 individuals who were evacuated from Krypton before it collapsed. The discovery that Val has developed agoraphobia by Red Tornado and Batman riles Batman, since it means that the only person who might conceivably oppose Superman is now terrified of wide open places. Batman informs Red Tornado that they don't have much time to take action, as she promises to speak with Val. Red Tornado visits Val alone in the Batcave and notices they are both terrified. Lois explains to Val that she had previously died and is now housed in a mechanical body. Because of what he is capable of as a Kryptonian, Val admits that he is frightened to injure anybody. Lois expresses sympathy by comparing Val's feelings to those of her husband, Superman. Val claims that he is currently causing harm to others, and Lois responds that the man inhabiting Superman's body is not her husband, because she is aware that the real Superman is very kind, honest, and too determined. She also notes that nothing that Darkseid could do to Clark would be worse for him than his parents' disapproval. Soon after, Batman opens the Batcave doors. Val, accompanied by Red Tornado, goes fearlessly outside and lets himself enjoy the sunshine, with Lois encouraging him that this is where he belongs. James Olsen monitors the situation inside the Batcave as Batman and Red Arrow quarrel about Superman, only to be stopped by Olsen, who tells them that they are setting a terrible example of humanity in front of Val, to which Red Tornado agrees. Later on, when Val tries to shave, he discovers that his superpowers have taken effect because the razor he is using is no longer functional. When Val needs help shaving, Lois offers to use heat vision, but she becomes sidetracked when she notices in the mirror's reflection that her face has turned robotic. Lois gets Val ready for his first flight attempt outside the Batcave, high up on a ledge. The moment Val stands on the cliff, his vision and hearing abilities begin to work as well. However, at that moment, Val is reminded of Batman's statement that he plans to use Val as a weapon. The Earth is not yet Val's world to defend, according to Lois, who acknowledges this. Val recalls that his parents were researchers, and he recalls learning from them while he was in the capsule that they didn't think that bloodshed was the solution. Val isn't fighting today, so Lois reminds him that his parents are correct. As she takes hold of his hand, the two of them dive off the cliff and into the air as Val experiences an exquisite feeling of flight. When Lois lets go of Val's hand to test how he would manage flying on his own, he falls into the woods below, but instead of hitting the ground, he stops mid-air just over the treetops. When Hawk Girl eventually joins them, she and Lois both sense impending peril in the shape of a parademon swarm hurtling towards them. Lois orders Val to flee while she and Hawk Girl attempt to fend off the swarm for as long as they can. However, Lois soon recognizes another member of the swarm, Superman. When she sees him flying directly by her, she is momentarily distracted, which gives the parademons time to completely encircle her. When Superman spots Val, he immediately tosses him to the ground, while a parademon injures Hawk Girl by biting off part of her left wing. After smashing her way out of the swarm, Hawk Girl is about to collapse to the ground until Lois saves her. When Lois and Hawk Girl arrive calling out, "Clark, it's me, Lois," Superman is about to bash Val into submission. Superman turns and asks Lois when he sees the robotic body that Lois has taken over. She commands him to set Val down right away, so he lets go of the Kryptonian. Lois instructs Val and Hawk Girl to flee while she goes with Superman to attempt to talk to him. Val and Hawk Girl notice the remainder of the parademon swarm approaching them after Superman and Lois have left. Hawk Girl explains that they will need to make their way back through the horde, but Val assures her that he won't kill as he dives directly on top of her to protect her from the parademon attacks. Then, all of a sudden, the explosions halt, and as they glance up, they notice that Green Lantern is still alive and fighting the parademons with his green energy. When the three of them return to the Batcave, Green Lantern notices that Khaled isn't himself since he's still reeling from Superman's beating, which has left him wounded. When James Olsen inquires as to Lois's whereabouts, Val replies that Superman has taken her. Batman tries to come up with just one explanation for why Superman would have sent the parademons to Gotham, and if that explanation is accurate, then he is aware of where the Batcave is. Val argues that they must get Lois back, but Batman counters that they are clueless as to where she may be with Superman. However, James does know where Lois is, since she enabled him to hack into her systems and utilize her sensors to spy on her. James then informs the Wonders that Lois and Superman are presently with the Kent family in Smallville. The Wonders and Sonia Sato arrive in Amazonia following the raid on the Batcave, but regrettably they also bring Red Arrow, who was one of their casualties. Batman glares furiously at Val and demands to know why he did nothing when he had the opportunity to dismantle the whole parademon army. Batman just accuses Val of killing Red Arrow before leaving, dismissing Val's attempt to defend himself by saying that he doesn't like violence. James Olsen boldly confronts Batman, informing him that he is aware of who he really is and that he is equally to blame for the murder of Red Arrow. But at least Val was doing all in his power to keep the team safe. He advises Batman that if they want to rescue the world, they should attempt doing it on Val's terms in order to demonstrate that there isn't always a necessity for bloodshed and that the world isn't already too dark. Later, Val is discovered by James Olsen outdoors on the balcony, soaking up as much sunlight as he can. James reassures Val that it is not his fault that he did nothing for Connor, despite Val's regret. James asks Val what is hidden beneath his hoodie, but Val is hesitant to reveal anything until he explains to the Kryptonian that discovering secrets is exactly what he does. When Val notices that his hoodie has been ruined, he tears it apart to reveal that he is actually dressed as Superman underneath. The Science Council was warned by Val's parents, who were pacifists, that Krypton would be destroyed, but they were punished for their efforts. Jor-El and Lara took Val in and eventually launched 4 rockets carrying themselves, their baby son Kal, their niece Kara, and one other person. Although Val is aware of what Superman has done to the symbol, he wears it to remember the people who saved his life. Val Zod confronts Superman. Later, the insane Dr. Fate meets Val and sets his fractured helmet on the Kryptonian, warning him that it is World's End. Val is given a view of the cosmos via the helmet's flood of light. Val, who is now shattered, uses his heat vision to restore the helmet and make a promise to fix all that Kal-El has damaged, starting with the name Superman and the crest of the House of El. He launches into orbit to assist Green Lantern after telling Accountable to notify Batman. A net of energy is being anchored by Green Lantern in the high atmosphere on the other side of Earth from the boom tube to draw against the enormous maw. When Val reaches out to grab Superman by the collar, Superman does the same to him. Val Zod continues to battle Superman while admonishing him that he doesn't want to engage in combat. Val claims that he is not scared and is only demonstrating that he is a better guy than Superman. Superman assumes that Val is terrified. Then, out of nowhere, Val immediately follows Superman as he dashes off in the direction of Geneva. The red tornado intercepts Superman as Val explains the situation to James, forcing him to halt so that they can save their Earth. Val has enough time, as a result of the diversion, to seize Superman and throw him to the ground. Val has the L insignia on his uniform, which Superman notices, and he questions why. The same question is posed by Superman to Val, who claims that knowing what her son has evolved into would make her ashamed. Only a strong blow from Superman serves as a response. When Superman's right hand begins to fall apart, he questions why his opponent is stronger than him. Val attempts to calm Superman down after realizing that something is wrong with him, but Superman headbutts Val and only makes matters worse for himself when his own face begins to fracture. The red tornado arrives and informs Val that it's not Superman and that it's some kind of clone with Superman's memories. As a result, Superman's entire body begins to deteriorate. Superman's collapsing body tries to persuade Lois that he is Superman, now with the House of L insignia upside down and hanging free. Still, Lois tells him that he is a cold abomination that Clark could never be. The red tornado uses her whirlwind abilities to turn the Superman clone into dust as Val Zod looks on. The Wonders made the decision to exploit their success in the war to force Apocalypse to leave their realm. Val meets Kal. When two strangers show up, Val and Lois go to the Geneva outskirts to find the survivors hiding in the final Apocalyptian fire pits. Just as everything was beginning to calm down, there was a massive earthquake that brought in a female beast, which emerged from the fire pit. Helena, Lois and Kara battled the fury of war until she took control of them and used them as pawns to kill them and join her Fury sisters. However, their memories were wiped clean by Lois, allowing them to flee. They turned around and went to an adjacent lab that had sent out a distress signal but decided to jump directly into the fire pits. Val and Kara had to unite their power and speed to create the impact force of a neutron bomb, which would have destroyed the threat and saved everyone since the lab was being besieged by mutant monsters that would pollute the globe. Val walked for hours until being challenged by Desaad, who seized Helena and fled with her. Desaad utilized the remnants of the damaged lab to make protective gear for Batman and Huntress to let them drop into the fire pit. However, Batman was equipped with a tracking device that might direct them to Helena. They followed the path to the lowest levels until they located what looked to be the long-lost Superman. They were in Desaad's cloning laboratory, which was full of flawed copies of Superman, suggesting that it was another clone and that the real one may still be alive. Despite being very intoxicated by Miraclo and becoming insane, Thomas claims that Helena is more significant than the dead hero, which leads Val to destroy his medicine. The deceased clones begin to waken at that precise time and proceeded on a devastating rampage until being stopped by Batman's electromagnetic pulse. They had started looking for Helena again when they discovered Superman's ripped shield, which had been saved as a souvenir. They also found that Helena's vital signs had mysteriously vanished, which made them dread the worst. This time they followed Desaad, where they discovered the real Clark Kent being held captive in a stasis pod. When his wife awakened him, he found that he was helpless and that Desaad was gathering armies of parademons in preparation for the next fury of famine. Desaad arrived out of nowhere and emerged to hurl the avatar of the Red onto them, cutting short the time they had given Helena to Kara while Val guided the others to safety. Val guessed immediately that the only way to destroy the entire cloning factory was to let the Red avatar go. By connecting to the whole network, releasing the Red avatar while sacrificing himself and effectively utilizing his blood as poison across the entire labyrinth, Superman was able to pull off this accomplishment. After winning the fight, Val and Kara laid to rest the former Earth champion on a tranquil hilltop before making their way to a World Army base. Val was contacted by Flash, asking for help against the Furies, and then heard the world as a whole rejoicing over the extinction of the fire pits. When Val got to the battleground, he destroyed the Fury of War by bombarding her cells with radiation and turning off her abilities. Sadly, Death's offspring eventually arrived to ravage the planet's heart. They weren't able to accomplish much since Barda's Proto-Furies were attacking Atom's heaven and destroying everything in their path before they arrived to drive them away. When Apocalypse Terraformer hit the ground, Commander Sato and Steel were joined by Val and Kara on Atom's Heaven HQ. Val saw the threat right away. When Commander Sato ordered them to assault Apocalypse directly, Kara, Lois and Val attacked the Terraformer first, causing it to discharge parademon swarms to mislead them. Along the way, they came across a tattered Green Lantern who had failed to safeguard Earth from Apocalypse. Telos teleports Val to an unknown planet. Val and the other superheroes were taken to an unidentified planet by an entity called Telos after saving the remaining civilians. Telos also abducted a number of other heroes from other realms to battle under Brainiac's command. After a brief period of cooperation with Deimos before the latter showed himself to be a monster and began hunting them down, Val and the others were finally able to flee. While they were doing this, Telos awakened and assisted them in defeating Deimos, but the energy he emitted would also destroy the Earth. Thus, with Brainiac's assistance, they were rescued and returned to a new Earth too. Val and Kara start dating. Although their powers weren't always usable due to the new planet's unusual sun, Val and Kara started rebuilding the towns there and eventually started dating. They parted ways after having a disagreement about Clark's demise. Prophecy had kidnapped Val along with many other supermen from across the multiverse in order to steal their talents. Val was set free by the Justice Incarnate. What makes Val Zod so powerful? In ideal conditions, Val Zod gets his superpowers, which are reliant on exposure to solar radiation from a yellow sun star system. Under the light of a yellow sun, Val Zod is capable of possessing the same potential powers as a regular Kryptonian. He possesses a number of organs in his anatomy that do not exist in humans and whose purposes are unknown. It is believed that his biocellular matrix will be used to store yellow solar energy in the future. This allows the use of these abilities to diminish slowly rather than instantly cease when yellow solar light is absent. Val Zod can direct extreme heat beams at a target by concentrating. He has the capacity to modify the temperature and heating surface. No matter the loudness or pitch, he can hear anything because of his keen hearing. By using expertise and concentration to focus on a particular source or frequency, he can filter out background noise. Val Zod is able to control graviton particles, allowing him to transcend the forces of gravity and achieve flight. Hovering and movement in any position or direction fall under this category. Marvelous verdict. In addition to being strong and physically capable, Val Zod also possesses a brilliant intellect. Val Zod's remarkable devotion to study from his Kryptonian resources, as he developed his peaceful ideology and acquired a thirst for knowledge, is the root of his brilliance. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share, and for more exciting videos, please subscribe to our channel. Thanks everyone.